nostalgic being back here because I was just telling Brent the taste of the pizza. Graduated from ASU in 2013 from the business school, as well as I was a Barrett Honors student. First in my family to graduate high school, and graduated valedictorian from a school called Alhambra High School, which is on 35th Avenue in Camelback in town, near Central Phoenix. And then came over to ASU and played no games in the sense of getting my schoolwork done. I graduated in 24 months as summa cum laude, number one in my class. So for someone who is Hispanic, West Phoenix, growing up with no money, regardless, that's a big deal, but that was a really big deal for my family, particularly being the youngest in my family. So kind of the last shot to graduate high school. Today I'm the CEO of Snow Cosmetics and many other brands. Combined, we do close to $300 million a year in sales. I bootstrapped the first 100 million, which was a lot of fun, and all of that. So today, I'll kind of give you a synopsis of some of what I think pertain to what you guys are studying and interested in today. So when I was a junior, actually, let me take it all the way back. I was 12 or 13 years old, and the recession, the housing crisis started to happen, and it created some struggle inside of my thinking of my household. So I was trying to figure out how could I work to make money to help my family. My dad's an immigrant from Spain, kind of started his whole career over, making $1.50 an hour, putting up fences. All that, I say this not for pity, sob story, etc. It's super important because I have a lot of very successful friends and they forget where they came from, or they forget to highlight that piece, right? So it's super important because it shows that in America and with proper innovation and execution, you truly can change not just your life, thousands of people's lives. So anyway, I started at 12, 13 years old. I picked up a book called How to Build a Website for Dummies in the Phoenix Public Library, and decided that I was going to learn how to make a website. And at the time, we didn't have a computer at home, so I used the public library every day after school and the school library when I wasn't in sports to build websites, learn how to program. I didn't even know what I was doing, never thought no one in my family, none of my friends, none of my neighbors, nothing. So just a book and a hope. So I started making websites, and one day the librarian in high school, my freshman year, walks by and sees me typing on a computer, and I was designing a website, and she was like, "What are you doing?" So probably I was hacking into the computer or changed my grade or something. And I said, "I build websites." She goes, "Wow, could you do this for other people?" I go, "Sure." She goes, "Well, how much do you charge?" I had no idea. So I went to Google, how much do you charge for a website? So I maybe charged like $500. So that was my first paying gig at 13, 14 years old. By 17, I'd made my first $1 million. So a lot happened in that segment as I was finishing high school and taking the city bus, mind you, at 13, 14 years old between the public library and school. So, once I started building websites, I started getting my first few clients to build websites for. I continued building websites on my own. Most of these were blogs that ranked in Google for keywords from pregnancy to divorce to falling in love, all things that I wrote in pseudonyms simply by rehashing articles that were trending online. And so I was trying to figure my way out. I was trying to figure it out. No one in my family was an entrepreneur. The most risky thing you could tell someone, especially an immigrant father who's given up everything for you, to say, "I want to go be an entrepreneur." Scary, right? Please, no, stay in medical school, go there, go that route. So a lot of internal pressure, but I kept my promise. My parents said, "If you keep your grades up, we won't ask questions about what you're doing. We just hope it's legal, and the FBI is not going to bang on our door. We won't ask any questions." So, of course, I didn't want my parents on my back. I knew that I was onto something one day. I didn't know what it was, but I knew something was there. And so I was building these websites for other companies, small businesses in town, a couple $1,000s. I was raising my rates over time. And I was still building the websites for my own leisure and hobbies and what I thought would be money-making opportunities. Some of those ended up becoming massive opportunities because I found a program called Google AdSense where you get paid a penny when someone clicks on an ad on your website. Well, I started to get a lot of traffic because at the time I could only afford one marketing method, one go-to-market strategy, and that was search engine optimization because the cost on it was zero. And I was a good enough typer, at typing, that I could write most of the content myself. So the cost was a $5 domain name, $5 a month for hosting, and then it was up to me how much I could rehash to rank in Google. So I started to see that these clicks were coming through, and I remember the first day that I made 10 cents on Google AdSense. It changed my world because I realized I took a nap and woke up and made money, and I didn't know who that person was, nothing at all. It just ching, and I was like, whoa, wow, okay, well, if I drive around every library in town and click on my own ads, I'll make $100 in a week. Turns out I Googled that. That's not in the Google terms of service, so you can't do that. But I said, okay, I need to figure out traffic. I need to figure out how to get a lot of people, because a lot of inventors are not financially successful. And so I said, I have to learn the go-to-market strategy myself so that I don't fall prey to someone else and vice versa. So I learned search engine optimization. Naivete is usually your biggest advantage. The older you get, the less you have, and generally the less imagination you have. But you can regain it. You just have to choose to do so. So at that time, I'm building these websites. I sold a website. I found out you could sell a website, kind of like you'd sell real estate property on a website that's now called flippa.com. So I sold that, got my car. Then I went halves with my dad on the computer, got a computer at home. So then my development accelerated because when I wasn't in school, I was literally just working, creating business ideas and just doing it, just creating it. And so website after website after website, I got tired of making just a few pennies per click. I was like, who's advertising that can afford to pay me pennies for a click? I want to be that guy. And so it's like, oh, well, I have to create something that other people can sell that I've got advertised. So that pushed me more into creation versus the creation I was doing around programming, website design for clients and other companies. That was great, but I wanted something that I could kind of do myself. And so that's where I started to create my own products to sell online. I realized that instead of creating 50 websites in 50 different categories, if I created 10 websites in one category and had all 10 spots on Google, then I could sell anything. And instead of letting other people take the margin, I could sell my own product, because even if it was crap product, they would buy it because I owned the traffic and the distribution. That's what you see commonly with, starting with Sears Roebuck, with the catalog, the private labeling, Kenmore, these brands, CVS you go into, Walgreens you go to, Amazon you go into, the private label cannibalization, displacement is what was happening. So fast forward a little bit, started selling other people's products online through Google. Google bought YouTube in 2006, and I found out that Google was starting to rank YouTube videos on the Google search results. They were testing it out. And so I took the products that I started to sell and went hard into YouTube, which meant that I just read everything that I could, talked to everybody, watched everything I could. Can't go to a coffee shop and ask someone about the YouTube algorithm. So it was all online. Could ask my family, so everything online. What was a foundational shift for me was really sharpening my skills, essentially, in the corporate innovation venture. As I got such a young start. But looking back, that experience was super, super vital to understanding, without the risk of launching something on my own, I was able to innovate on top of somebody else's budget, somebody else's balance sheet, somebody else's experience, their team. So I learned a lot working with clients. I continued building that agency until I sold it when I was 21. I graduated from ASU. I studied computer information systems and was running my business from the dorm room. Found a website called freelancer.com, upwork.com, which used to be called Odesk, where you can hire people all over the world to do your work for you. And so that's where I started posting jobs and started to delegate and get a lot of the groundwork required to build a product, build a brand. And I was able to outsource that while I was in school. I was taking 24 credits a semester, human events, thesis. I did my thesis. I defended my thesis first year in. So there was a lot going on. Girlfriend, sports, intramural, all of that. Clubs, yes, everything. So I graduated when I turned 20. I came in with 0 credits. And the truth is, I wanted to drop out because when I came into the honors college and I sat there for human event, there were 18 peers and the professor, and I felt so like a fish out of water. They were talking about things that I didn't study because my school was focused on graduating high school, not college preparedness. So I felt so out of place. And this voice in my head was saying, Josh, you're the first in your family to go to college. Like, that's enough. Just stay in business school. Like, why are you going? You don't need this. You're going to fail. And so every single time I love living in my own world. I love that I'm able to protect the imagination that I have left and grow it. And that's the most important piece of innovation, venture development, creating a product. Now, it's not just groundbreaking science. Now, if we take you to where I am today, I'm 29 years old. So I graduated 9 years ago, and I've been busy since then because once I graduated from ASU, it was the first time in my life that I didn't have to split my time between my ideas and my business and school. And I was able to really go at it and apply everything I learned from school, all of my network resources to grow my businesses. So a few years after I graduated, I had jaw surgery. I had a horrible TMJ pain, every day that caused migraines. So I was with my oral surgeon buddy, and he goes, well, I can just saw out your top jaw, rearrange it, put it back in with 16 screws and 4 plates, and you won't have any issues anymore. And I go, well, I kind of speak for a living, so I'm really down to do that. And he's like, let's do it. 2 weeks later, 7.5-hour surgery. I had my jaw removed, put back in, braces multiple times. So I was constantly self-aware around my smile since I was 13 years old, because I was always afraid the clients were going to realize I was under 18 and that, hey, you can't sign a contract, you're under 18. So I was always worried. So luckily I was taller, but the smile was important to me. So I wanted to do something. And my best friends were creating a company called Tuft and Needle, local mattress company, Bed in a Box. And they were going that to hundreds of millions in sales. And I was trying to figure out which market that I want to go into. And I needed something with an extreme challenge, something that grew with population growth for what I needed. Everyone's different. There's 1,000 things. But for me, my compass at the time of ideating and launching Snow was I thought forever that as an entrepreneur that I had this pursuit of happiness. Like, there's a certain point that I will be like extra happy, like euphoric. It just like, and I realized, I look back when I graduated ASU, it was a summer day. I walked out, I thought there was going to be a parade. I thought, people were going to be clapping. Nothing. Silence. I walked out and I go, I'm done with formal education. Like, it's done. There's no balloons, nothing. And I realized that it's the same thing. It's the pursuit is happiness. Like, once you have that eureka moment, it's euphoric for a while and you're on to the next one.